Alrighty, let's do a little news of the week video on this Saturday afternoon. And for the past couple of days, we have seen MLS have raised awareness in terms of talking about this racism issue that we are dealing with right now. And I love how a lot of players, coaches, and even GMs have openly speaked up about this racism issue, and that they hope that eventually this issue would change and that there should be justice that is going on with how we actually got to this point and how we had so many protests that is going on and it's still going on. And as I said before, I definitely applaud all these players that speaks out about this issue, and I also applaud all those peaceful protests that is continue to protest not only for justice for the killing of George Floyd, but also in terms of this whole racism issue, and hopefully eventually we are going to have some changes. Now, that being said, as much as we have a lot of players that have openly speaked out and have raised awareness for changes in terms of dealing racism, we have also had people that are not doing that. And for those people that are not doing that and are trying to do the opposite of what a lot of these players are speaking out, they got a huge punishment to it. And it's not just players that did that, but we saw a couple of days ago that Sounders broadcaster Alan Hinton actually got fired after he decided to post comment that failed to meet the standard of conduct of the organization. And in other words, he basically decided to tweet a highly controversial racist kind of comment. I mean, I guess the way that he's tried to say it is that he's trying to kind of prove a point to kind of like support this whole movement, but unfortunately he didn't do a good job on it, and other people, when they saw that comments, they didn't felt like he was trying to do that, and as a result, a lot of people were very angry about that, and the Sounders immediately did the right thing, and that is of course letting go of him. I mean, any times when we're in this situation that we are in right now, and you have people that are saying the opposite of what the right thing needs to be said to deal with this issue, then yeah, you are most likely going to be fired, and that you are probably not going to recover your career or even get a job in the future if you of course say these remarks. So yeah, Alan Hinton, it's going to be a long road for him to trying to get a career back in broadcasting, because this is going to be tainted in his name forever. Now, we also had a player that was also being terminated and being fired by their team, and one of those players was Aleksandr Katai, who of course was mutually part ways with LA Galaxy after his wife posted some racist remark over the internet. Now, this one is a little bit harsh in some ways, because Katai didn't say this. It was actually his wife that actually posted that, and Katai even openly apologized to everybody and even acknowledged the fact that what the Galaxy decided to let go of me is the right thing to do. But at the same time, it's really harsh because of the fact that he didn't really do it. But I think if you're the Galaxy, there's really no other choice, but they had to let him go. Like, if they decided to kind of not let him go, even with the apologies that he received, there's going to be a lot of PR nightmare that is going to go toward the Galaxy, and that is the thing that they definitely don't want to do. So yeah, it's very tough to see Katai to get part ways with something that he basically didn't even do, and it was one of his family member. But this is the world we're living in right now, that you just got to be very careful in terms of what you're actually posting. And even if you don't post it, or somebody that you posted, then yeah, it could really cost your career. And I have a feeling for Katai, it could really cost his career with the way that he had this situation. Now, another player that did not get cut by their team but actually got suspended this week is Jessie Gonzalez, and it wasn't anything to do with him posting any racist remark, but he actually got suspended by FC Dallas for domestic abuse. And yeah, most likely he's going to have to get into the MLS drug and substance abuse program, and unless if he of course passed that program, most likely he's not going to be back with FC Dallas. And yeah, it's just very dumb for him to decide to do this. I mean, one of the thing about MLS that is I would say is a little bit better from the other professional league is that we don't usually see players decided to have like domestic abuse and have some very controversial thing that players do, like what Jessie Gonzalez just did. But unfortunately, we still do get a couple of these, and hopefully Jessie Gonzalez, once he enter that program, he'll learn from his mistake, and then he might be able to get a second chance from FC Dallas if he completes the program, and that FC Dallas will reinstate him. Now, switching gears in terms of the whole talk about how players and also broadcasters are getting fired because of making racist remark and domestic abuse. Antoine Griezmann have once again says that he really wants to play in MLS in the future, and this is not the first time that he has said that. I remember he said that a couple of times, and he also said that there are 3 teams that he would love to play for. He would love to either play for Inter Miami or one of those 2 LA teams, which most likely I'm guessing it's going to be the Galaxy that he's going to be playing, knowing the fact that the Galaxy have a history of bringing superstar kind of European name into their team to pretty much play for their team while their career is kind of winding down. But you never know. We'll see if LAFC might be thinking about that in the future. But again, even though I know he says that he really wants to come to MLS, and I do think that he eventually will come to MLS, it's not going to happen for a couple more years. Like, I know right now he is still under contract with Barcelona, and he's going to be under contract for a couple more years. And even though he's kind of falling out of favor at Barcelona, that doesn't mean that he is going to eventually have to leave Europe and decide to go to MLS. Like, most of these European superstar players, they usually stay in Europe until maybe around their early or mid 30s, and then they come to MLS. And then we, of course, will have, once again, all those Euro snub people that say, hey, MLS is once again a retirement league, because look at all these big name superstar players decided to come to MLS just to retire for a couple of years. Which, for me, I always make the argument that no, MLS is not a retirement league, because you're seeing how the league has really changed that. Yes, we still do get these kind of European superstar players to come to the league to kind of play for a couple of years while winding down their career, but at the same time, we're now in a point of the league history where teams are no longer relying on these European superstar players to actually get them to the top. Like, when you look at these past couple of big signings of these big European superstar players to come to MLS to wind down their career, none of them actually came close of reaching MLS Cup. So, I guess the only reason why teams still do that is because they want to gain some people in the stand, and they want butts in the seats by bringing these well-known players. But one thing for sure, this is not a recipe in terms of reaching to MLS Cup and winning trophies, which is why we don't really see a lot of teams do that as often as we've seen before. Now, moving on, in terms of the next news, is that the MLS moratorium has officially been lifted, and now teams have started to return to full training. So we are now up to stage 3, as what I unofficially call, in terms of MLS plan to return from training, and that we already start seeing a couple of teams that have already done small group training, and I won't be surprised in the upcoming days we are going to return to full training. And we know for sure that once every team is going to be in Orlando to do that mini tournament that the league, of course, have scheduled to, we're going to have every single team entering stage 3 of the training part, where every single team will now have full training up until that point. Now, the Quakes have finally cleared its player to do voluntary individual workout, and that the Quakes become the final team to entering stage 1 and actually allow their players to do some training in their training facility. And as I said before, and I'm going to say it again, I know Quakes fans are going to be mad the fact that the Quakes waited this long to do it, and that why in the world are we once again the last team of something that is so crucial, and that this will put a lot of disadvantage to the Quakes with the fact that they were the last one to do some training with their players. Well, here's the thing. the Quakes had really has no kind of, they don't have really a say in terms of whether or not they allowed the players to train in entering stage one of this restart of players train in the team training facility. The city of Santa Clara, well, actually not the city, but the county of Santa Clara is the one that has the say in terms of whether or not the Quakes are allowed to do it. Like, as long as if the county says that the Quakes are not allowed to have players to do volunteer individual workout and not allowing their players to train, the Quakes cannot really defies that order. So that's why, it took so long for the Quakes to finally announce it, because it took this long for the county to basically say. Now, if any Quakes fan are angry about that, maybe they should, instead of be angry about the Quakes, but maybe angry about how the county decided to wait for this long for the players to train and get back into their usual training workout. But at the same time, as I said before, Santa Clara County is one of the most strictest county in the country in terms of actually proceeding these reopening plan, and that, they're being very cautious in terms of trying to reopening stuff, like how they are allowing each of their sports team to do voluntary individual workout to begin with. The Athletic have laid off 8% of the staff while others take pay cut, and that, again, this is not a big surprise, because the Athletic, like many of the companies right now around the world, they are cutting their staff, and that they are also asking other staff member to take a pay cut, or they potentially are going to be laid off. And that, I think 8% is not bad. I mean, I've seen other companies, and I've also seen other teams that have taken a major layoff. I know the Quakes, from what I heard, they're actually cutting 20% of their staff, and I also heard the Dynamo just cut 20% of their stadium staff too. So it's not bad, the fact that the Athletic only cut 8% of it. But that being said, I do feel sorry for all those people that were part of the 8%, and that, there's really nothing they can do in terms of how they are clearly losing money with the way that they have already lifted their subscription kind of service, and that, now you can actually read the Athletic without having to pay that subscription fee, which is good for us fans, but it's definitely not good for the company, because they're basically losing all that subscription amount of profit that they earn from all these fans that, of course, read their paper while paying this subscription. Now, yesterday I did a video where I talk about how, I compare what other leagues are doing in terms of their plan to return after this whole pandemic. And I did mention that the USL League One, there wasn't really any plan of when exactly they're going to restart the season. Well, literally an hour after I recorded the video, and not even that video being uploaded, they basically announced that they are going to kick off their season on July 18th. So, yeah, thanks a lot, USL League One. You couldn't wait until I have to finish doing this video and also uploading before actually announce this. But in all seriousness, it's good, the fact that we are finding out that one of the lower leagues in the US is going to restart soon. I already mentioned that the USL Championship is going to restart in July 10th. And now we know that USL League One will kick off their season in July 18th, because unlike the Championship, League One hasn't actually started their season yet. And I also said yesterday at USL League Two, part of the conference from USL League Two have already said that they decided to cancel their season for 2020, and I haven't heard any word of the fact that plan is going to continue, and that there's going to be other teams or other conference that is going to also cancel their season, and that we will now know that the USL League 2 are one of the few and the only soccer league right now here in the States that is going to be canceled because of this pandemic. And finally, we have Austin FC decided that they are going to bid to host Gold Cups and College Cup game at their new stadium. Now, I think most likely they are going to get the bid to host Gold Cup game, because You know, we saw how Allianz Field, when it was open a couple of years ago, they were also bidding to host Gold Cup game, and they of course got that bid and got those games that is going to be taking place there. However, I don't know about the college game cup game itself. I mean, I heard they said that they want to not only bid for the men's college cup game, but also the women's college cup game. And I know for a fact that, you know, from what I heard, a lot of people don't like the fact that these college cup game is taking place at MLS Stadium, because usually no one actually attend these games that is taking place at an MLS stadium. Like, you know, I know so far for the women's college cup, they are still playing at Avaya Stadium every 2 years, and that I know the attendance has been a lot better compared to other college cup game that is taking place in MLS Stadium. But that's because this year, when I remember when I went to that women's college cup final game between Stanford and North Carolina, well, majority of those people were Stanford fans, and that, you know, if you have a team that is going to be playing in a college cup neutral venue and that they're near the neutral venue, obviously you're going to get more people attending to those games. But either way, I really think that for college cup, they should just stay either down in North Carolina and down in Santa Barbara for their college cup game, rather than actually just play it in an MLS stadium like that. And speaking of college cup itself, we don't know what the future of college cup is going to be, and also the future of college soccer too, because there's been rumors that college soccer could potentially disappear in a couple of years, and that I already know that there's a couple of programs and a couple of schools have cut their college soccer program because of the fact that, you know, college soccer is started to be a less and less kind of reliable, knowing the fact that now we have like an academy system, and that more players, usually when they want to get into MLS and go to Europe, they don't actually just go to college and play a couple of years. Instead, they just join a local academy, or they'll just go to Europe and join their academy and make a career out of that. So yeah, we shall see what the future of that is going to be. But like I said, I doubt that Austin is potentially going to host a college cup game, but I do think that there is a possible chance that they will get a Gold Cup game, whether it's in the group stage or it's in the knockout round. But that being said, that is pretty much it for the news of the week. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of all these news? And as usual, if I miss any news that is not put on this board, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.